Good morning, guys. Welcome to our session five. In session five, basically, we are building on what we have actually learned so far. What we are building on is really a bit simple and straightforward. We are building on our prompt engineering skills. And in this session five, we will be really looking at data literacy for AI. In data literacy for AI, it's really as far as this program is concerned, it go more deeper than what we are doing in this course, in the sense that we are not writing code, but we are actually using it on the AI level. When I mean on the AI level, meaning you are not, like this program says, you are not writing any code, you are not doing any of those complex stuff, but whatever we are going through throughout this course and throughout this section, there are things that you can use to do your day-to-day activity and be really good at doing them without any form of hindrances, that you can actually perform your job or even take contracts to do most of those things. So in data literacy for AI, we will be dealing with what we call data collection. You collect data cleaning. If the data is rough, again, we clean the data up. Then we go to data of visualization. We visualize the data that was collected, clean. We now visualize it. Then we understand what we call data biases and limitation. Again, we always know our focus key is what? In this session, our focus key is analytical thinking and critical judgment. Okay. So outline for this session we have a lot of practices. And before we go to those practices, we have to actually kind of like do a theoretical walkthrough, so that when we go to those practices, we will actually have a more better understanding of what we are doing. So the outline learning outcome of this session is what again? Define what data is, data set, row, column, structured data versus unstructured data, clean a messy data sheet using AI assistant. Like I said, we are not writing code. We are not using Python or Jupyter Notebook to do most of this. We are not doing that in this very section. Then create a chart that tells story about the data we have actually what define, clean, like I stated on above. We have then again identify at least three types of biases in the data set. Then again, describe one AI application in their own industry. So you will be doing this for us, kind of like a take-home assignment to describe one of the AI to application that you use in your industry or in your community to actually do some of your work or some other thing that you do. Again, this brings us to our first slide, which is what data literacy. In data literacy, we just talked about the ability to read data, understand data, and communicate with data for better decision making. Why is this relevant? It is relevant because it is the bridge between AI outcome and business goal. Yes, all the brilliance of what AI brilliances lie in the partnership with human ingenuity, and because AI can illuminate the opportunity that we need from the data that we provided. So it just like I would put it like what we feed AI with, it's just like food. If you don't eat food for a good amount of time, you will actually feel it in your body will actually tell you that you are missing something. So also AI actually use data as their food so that they can actually produce more better results for us. So kind of like we give data to AI tools and they use it to provide meaningful insight for us that we can in reality look at and see insight in them and actually use them to progress in our day-to-day businesses. AI process data based on what? Input parameter. without much understanding. Yes. So it kind of like when we used to do Excel before, you need to understand an Excel sheet before you put it together. Just a minute, guys. Put it together. So you need to understand an Excel sheet before you put it together for maybe if you want to like create a business need from those very data. But these days, what you need is to actually, for AI to actually understand those data, what they do, they take your data as input parameter to actually read through your data to understand your data for what real world context needs and might be technically accurate related to insights, causally and insights insensitive and strategically relevant to business or the outcome of what the need may be. So making meaning out of data, yes. So human-centric skills are of much value since machine can actually replace this and therefore act as what complement to AI raw input. Yes. So to make meaning out of data, one, if let's say for example, if you upload a business data to an AI tool now, it will just maybe just give you a generic output of okay, oh, this your Excel sheet look like a customer, this is it, but it may not really make meaning out of it. How can you make meaning out of it? You make meaning out of it by actually prompting the AI with the data to actually give you better output out of this very data. Hence, skills such as are important. What are they? Critical thinking and context analysis. What is the context analysis? One, if you upload a data to maybe ChatGPT now, and you put, oh, these are the list of my customer. Can you help me analyze which region actually make more sale in the year 2015? By that doing, you have given them the data, you are giving them a context to actually analyze on. That is what makes meaning out of that very data. But if you upload the data alone, yes, the LLM may actually know that, okay, this data is actually really, okay, it's all about sales from so, 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 and so, but it may actually give you a generic output. Then it comes down to what we call again effective communication and storytelling. Yes, data needs a contextualized to give what the audience or stakeholder. From the data is where you can tell meaningful story to people that you really want to give more insight to. Like story of what? Oh, story of okay. Or in the year 2015, we were able to make sales in a certain part of the country more than the other part. So I will, as a market analyst, I'm actually proposing that the area that we make more sale, if our goal is to drive sales, is to actually focus more resources in terms of adverts to grow the business there. That doesn't mean we are neglecting the area we did not make sales. We can look at for what we can improve. Who we are buying from us in the area that we make less sales, is it that our ad we're targeting the wrong customer? Were we targeting the young people that may not have the willing power to make decision to purchase our products? Or we were targeting the too old people who don't actually need our product? Our adverts meets a range of people that actually can afford our product in this area? That is where we call effective story communication comes in. We will see all of this in practical. We have a bit more of practical to actually do today. Then the other parties consider ethical consideration and bias detection. Human oversight is important to spot biases that persist in model due to what? Data. Yeah, we have talked about this in previous section that sometimes there are biases in the system that maybe at the point the model was designed, it was designed for a specific demography or a specific need. But for the fact that he's doing some other thing doesn't mean he is actually good in others part altogether. Take for instance, when ChatGPT was first came out, oh, it was doing some things that when you actually prompt it, it will tell you that this is out of my knowledge base, but sometimes it actually use most of the training logic to actually answer it, but it may not really answer it really, really deep very well. And again, on the ethical biases again too is like, so let's say a data set that was used to train a model for maybe to actually recognize the gene or the gene or the DNA of European. If you use that same model to actually test for Africa or some other part of the world, or let me say Asians, it may actually come out with some biases that you will not really expect as a researcher, and you will feel like, okay, this thing is not really working. No, not that it's not working. Maybe it was actually not really designed for those purpose. Okay, then again, and this brings us to what we call a data vocabulary. Yes, before we jump into doing most of the things that we need to do, you really need to have just a basic knowledge of this, which most of us should actually know. A data set is what is a collection of data. It is just when you have data such as this is the simple one we have here that we'll be working with. Yeah, this data we'll be working with is what this data here is a data, we'll call it a data set. It's a collection of data that we use to actually perform any form of task that we want to actually really do. It can be an example of an Excel sheet, like what I just showed us now is a CSV file, which is, yeah, CSV file. It can be a folder of PDF, a WhatsApp that you exported. Rows what? Rows are what? Rows are actually a single row, a single collection of record is a row. One record of a row is a row. A customer, one transaction, subject response. A column is an attribute, name, age. So if I come back here again, you can see customer ID is a column, name is a column, city, date joined is a column, age is a column. Why this whole of here? 01 Sarah Jones, Manchester, 12th, 2024, age 34. This is a row. Again, that brings us to the next thing we need to know about data vocabulary, which is what we call data type. What type is the data? Is it a number? Is it a text? Yeah, so if we come back in here, where you see this 01 is a number, while Sarah is a text, Jones is a text, this is what is a date, this too is a text. So if you notice the difference between this, look at this. Look at this. You see the difference? So this is, we wrap it in this code because I just by default want to force it to look like a test. So again, that brings us to again other form of data set, which we have the structured data set. Structured data set meaning that they are fitted, knitted inside column, while unstructured data are what? Free text. Free text like what? Text that is not really, it may be in an Excel, it may be in a PDF, it may be in a Word file, but it's not really where structured the way it should be. It's not really it's not neatly aligned. Then we have images. Image is an unstructured because image by default in data categorization, image, audio, and video, they are all unstructured data. Then that brings us to what we call metadata, which is what is a data about data. So when you take a picture, like I said, image is a data set. Inside image, there is what we call a metadata, which is what? Oh, where you took the picture, the date, the location. Those are what we call metadata, which is what why we put it data about data. So data, so inside the image, we have the date, the location, and so many the time and so many other things, which are what we call metadata, which are example of who collected it, when. Yeah, yes, that's what I'm saying now. Who collected it, who took the picture. You took the picture with your iPhone, when and how and where. So those are actually what we call metadata. Again, the last one here on my slide, which is what we call data storytelling. The ability or effective to communicate insight from a data set using narrative and what visualization, which is part of what we'll talk about later on. You will see them telling story using the data, this very data set we will use to actually really do a bit of more insight, and you will be surprised what we will do with this today. Yes, this brings us to a more really focused point again, which we are dealing in deep, which is what data storytelling and visualization. Yeah, data storytelling combine data combines data, visualization, and narrative to communicate what driven insights in a clear and impactful way. So instead of simply just representing number, just uh, as this is now, this doesn't really make sense. So if someone give you this now and tell you, oh, how many sales were made in Manchester in the year 2024, it really hard for us to actually really put them together, because look at this. Check, you can see 24 here. Again, it was written in another way here again, 24. So meaning it's not really in order. This data is not really well cleaned, which is part of what we will do. Again, now you can't really tell how many sales were made in Manchester, meaning you can't tell a very good story out of this. You can't do that. How do we actually put all those together? So it's storytelling that actually help us to put this together so that we can explain them in a more clearer number that, oh, in the year 2024, 12 sales were made in Manchester, although the same 12 sales were made somewhere in Sheffield, but basically the number in Manchester show a more better prospect that Manchester is a more bigger market than Sheffield. Those numbers will actually be what will make you to tell story. Why are they? Oh, if you say the sales were actually not different from Sheffield, why do you say Manchester is a more prospect? You say, oh, because in the past 3 months we have had more sign up in Manchester, and looking back to previous year also, Manchester has always been a growth place for our business. So that is what storytelling and visualization actually help you do, instead of you actually running through all this number, trying to figure it out. So storytelling actually makes you like put them in a very big report. And one other thing I always say is that whenever you hear someone say, I'm a data analyst, uh, I'm a database person, I'm a data something, something, I'm a data anything. What they are doing is they are telling story with data and visualization. Yes, that is what they do. And it is part of what we'll be doing today. But prior to AI, most of this data storytelling were actually really hard because one, you need to understand the data, you need to understand the context of what is needed to actually do or produce for stakeholders to actually understand your storytelling. But with AI now, you can actually do this without even understanding most of those tools, because this what we'll be doing in the next section after this walkthrough. It's really mind blowing that you don't need to even have any statistical knowledge, but you can actually do most of those things, and it really give you very good result that you can present anywhere and really looking good. Okay. The continuation of the data storytelling, look at this. Look at this. Okay, three components of data storytelling. What? Data serve as the foundation. Yes, the data, which is the foundation. The data is where you actually, that brings us to what we call narration. You narrate the story, communicate insights you learn from the data, which is the narration here. Again, after the narration and recommendation and aim to inspire the audience or inspire the CEO that, okay, in the next coming year, we are looking at, okay, if we are able to by June 2025, 2026, we have grown up to about, we now have about 10,000 customer base. By December, if we continue doing right what we are doing, we should be able to grow. We should be able to grow 10,000 more if we put on more effort. Where did that insight come from? It came from the data. It was actually explained in the narration, in the narrative, using the narrative strategy. Again, you move on to visualization. Visualization is where you actually make it really look more beautiful because bet you and I, no business or MD or stakeholder will actually want to be seeing this in your presentation. What they will be happily want to see is this. They don't even want to see your narration, your data, your narratives. No, they don't want to see this. They want to see the visualization. This is what makes them really know that, okay, oh, we're actually heading towards somewhere. If the chart are going down, they are going up. Yeah, this actually give them more better idea of where the company is going. And the visualization presentation of the data could be charts, graphs, diagram, picture, or video. I think, okay, come, how I bring this? Okay, okay, still on data storytelling. Why data storytelling matter? Aids in quick grasp insight in otherwise hidden large complex data. Exactly. Look at this. This is not really big, but imagine if we have this that is up to about, let's say 20,000. It's not clean. It's not, you can't just, even as small as this, you can't just quickly want to actually, oh, you'll be looking for Manchester. You want to know the number of Manchester. Again, once you are done with that, different, no, it will really, really, really be a bit hard for you to actually do that. So again, for you to actually get graphs in hidden large number of complex data, presentation of information in a more clearer and engaging way that does a lot of what? Analytic heavy lifting. Yes, with your data understanding, narrative, now your visualization will do what? Will do the heavy lifting away from you because through your visualization, you are able to tell a more clearer story of what you are actually trying to say. Help separate data from noise. Yes. Does this really mean? So sometimes you hear people always saying, "Oh, I have so and so." Like most time when marketer speaks in meeting, some meeting that I've been, they kind of like, oh, I have so client that is doing this. I have every day, but the data doesn't really say that. What does it mean? In the past 6 months, the data of what you have been providing from your department doesn't really match what you are saying. So what does that mean? Storytelling help us to filter the noise that some people always say, I'm doing, I'm on it. But the data is not saying you are on it. The data is not saying that we are moving forward. The data is not saying we are making progress. So this separating from the noise help us to focus attention on what is needed and what is not needed. Oh, are we marketing the wrong way? Are we our advert targeting the wrong customer? Are we spending on our ad budget on the wrong time, on the wrong platform? Improve communication between the audience by creating a shared understanding of what the data show and why it matters. Yes. So this actually help improve communication also because from your storytelling, you can actually communicate better with your team member, your audience, know what product actually your audience need and the other. Still on data storytelling, We have a very simple example of data storytelling that we will look at. Just let's take it's about a 4-minute video. Let's take a look at it.
Visualization is right at the heart of my own work too. I teach global health. And I know having the data is not enough. I have to show it in ways people both enjoy and understand. Now, I'm going to try something I've never done before. Animating the data in real space with a bit of technical assistance from the crew. So, here we go. First, an axis for health. Life expectancy from 25 years to 75 years. And down here, an axis for wealth, income per person, $400, $4,000, and $40,000. So down here is poor and sick, and up here is rich and healthy. Now, I'm going to show you the world 200 years ago in 1810. Here come all the countries. Europe brown, Asia red, Middle East green, Africa south of Sahara blue, and the Americas yellow. And the size of the country bubbles show the size of the population. And in 1810, it was pretty crowded down there, wasn't it? All countries were sick and poor. Life expectancy were below 40 in all countries. And only UK and the Netherlands were slightly better off, but not much. And now, why start the world? The Industrial Revolution makes countries in Europe and elsewhere move away from the rest. But the colonized countries in Asia and Africa, they are stuck down there. And eventually, the Western countries get healthier and healthier. And now we slow down to show the impact of the First World War and the Spanish flu epidemic. What a catastrophe. And now I speed up through the 1920s and the 1930s. And in spite of the Great Depression, Western countries forge on towards greater wealth and health. Japan and some others try to follow, but most countries stay down here. Now, after the tragedies of the Second World War, we stop a bit to look at the world in 1948. 1948 was a great year. The war was over, Sweden topped the medal table at the Winter Olympics, and I was born. But the differences between the countries of the world was wider than ever. The United States was in the front, Japan was catching up. Brazil was way behind, Iran was getting a little richer from oil, but still had short lives. And the Asian giants, China, India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, and Indonesia, they were still poor and sick down here. But look what is about to happen. Here we go again. In my lifetime, former colonies gained independence, and then finally they started to get healthier and healthier and healthier. And in the 1970s, then countries in Asia and Latin America started to catch up with the Western countries. They became the emerging economies. Some in Africa follows. Some Africans were stuck in civil war and others hit by HIV. And now we can see the world today in the most up-to-date statistics. Most people today live in the middle, but there are huge differences at the same time between the best of countries and the worst of countries. And there are also huge inequalities within countries. These bubbles show country averages, but I can split them. Take China, I can split it into provinces. There goes Shanghai. It has the same wealth and health as Italy today. And there is the poor inland province Guizhou. It is like Pakistan. And if I split it further, the rural parts are like Ghana in Africa. And yet, despite the enormous disparities today, we have seen 200 years of remarkable progress. That huge historical gap between the West and the rest is now closing. We have become an entirely new converging world. And I see a clear trend into the future. With aid, trade, green technology, and peace, it's fully possible that everyone can make it to the healthy, wealthy corner. Well, what you just seen in the last few minutes is a story of 200 countries shown over 200 years and beyond. It involved plotting of 120,000 numbers. Pretty neat, huh?
Yes. So did you guys let's go to the chat. Let's go to the chat. Hello, guys. Did you guys enjoy this story? Hello, guys. Are you guys with me? Did you guys see the storytelling from what he did? From 120,000 data, they told a story about how countries actually move into a more healthier and a kind of like a way to actually sustain ourselves as human beings, looking from 200 years ago. So that's what a discussion I was having with a friend some time ago that sometimes we all look at our individuality. Oh, I'm supposed to achieve this, I have not. But when you look at where human was 200 years ago and where we are today, there is a huge, huge difference. This data kind of like, I've actually even spoken much about that also. So again, that is what the story of visualization is. With just 4 minutes video, we were able to watch how he was able to tell 200 country, 200 year story about where we were as human and where we are today. Despite war, despite hunger, and so many other things. So that is what the power of story, data telling with story actually is. Imagine if that data was in a sheet, in a data sheet like this, you will not understand it. No one will understand it. They were able to even split even region in China, split region in all over the world to actually even go deeper into inside those data. That is part of what data storytelling is. And we may not be doing a complex thing as that, but we'll be doing something really, really exciting in this very section. Again, so data storytelling and visualization, we'll be doing a bit of a demo. In the demo, we'll be doing from this very data, this very data now we'll be using to do a demo. Like I said earlier when we started, we are not writing code, we are not doing, AI is going to assist us in doing all this. And for AI to assist us, I and the team, we came up with a very good strategy. What's the strategy? We came up with this. We came up with this, all this prompt, all this prompt, the prompt for cleaning the data. Because one, if you look at the data, it's messy. We need to first clean the data up. After we clean the data up, again, now we come to where we'll build our analysis, customer distribution by city. We have prompt for everything. Again, we move downwards to where we will create our visual prompt for creating visualization, creating chart, dashboard, and even storytelling. Yes, we're going to create our own storytelling also, exactly like what he did. But in our own, it's not going to be a video, it's going to be a test, which in previous classes have actually taught us you can use that story to go and use AI to generate it to be a video. You can actually do that also. And by the end of the section, I will be sharing with us this very prompt, this very file. And session 5 also I'll be sharing us with us this very data. And I am actually advising us to actually go ahead and build along all what I've done in this. Because the thing is, if you actually given a new data set anywhere, or you go to any place you feel like, okay, there are businesses that you want to help, if you can actually source out for their data, these are things that you can use to actually elevate yourself, build business out of, to actually really do really well. Because with this age of AI, you may not really need to really be an expert in understanding most of these things in depth, but you can actually produce very good results from them. So let's go back to our slide. So first of all, we are going to do what? We are going to standardize for the cleaning. We are going to standardize the city name, missing date format, convert age stored as test, because originally, look at this. We are going to fix that also. Again, remove blank or invalid rows. detail outlier or abnormally, which are not really anomaly, meaning which they don't really make sense, kind of like not really matching what we need. Again, prompt for data analysis, we are going to look at for customer distribution by city, age profiling analysis, what number of what age group is actually buying our product in Manchester. Because if we want to run Google ads or we want to run the TikTok ad for our company, if the age group that is buying our product is between 25 to 30, we don't need to run ad for age group of what? 31 to 50 and above. We don't care about those people anymore because they are not really our target customer. We don't want to run ad for people who are under 15 because one, they are not our target customer, also under 25 because they are not our really target customers. So we are going to do, then we are going to actually do segment customer, then data storytelling, narrating story in summary, executive level storytelling. Yes, if you want to like submit a report to executive about what the prospect is for the rest half of the year from June to December, how do you put that story up? Insight to action recommendation. Again, we have a prompt for that. Then again, we'll go to the prompts for visualization, which was city by distribution chart, age distribution, and customer segmentation dashboard. We are going to build all of this together. Okay. Then at the end of it, you will have a take-home project where you will actually do for us, which is as simple as this. And I will be sharing this slide with you guys. Okay, now back to our data storytelling. Like I said, I have already done this. We have actually provided all of this, which are what the core takeaway prompt. One, the first part is what we are going to clean the data. Then the second part is customer pattern, which is the analysis. Then followed by what? We'll build a narrative for stakeholders. Then we will close it up by what? Creating visual that support the story of what we want to tell our stakeholders. Are you guys with me? If you guys are with me, let's go ahead and start. So this is really simple. As you can see, this is my ChatGPT. Yeah, I know it's a paid version. That's why it will allow me to do so many things. The first thing I will do is to simply just upload this very file here now. I will go to my ChatGPT. I will go on upload. I will pick it up. I will upload this very file. What I will do is really, really simple. What I will do is I will give it a very simple prompt. Read the CSV file, understand it. Okay. Okay, it has done that. Now, the next thing we need to follow up through is simply this our file here. The first in it, standardize city by name. To do that, you just copy this prompt. We want to standardize the city name because they are not really standardized. Because if we look at, they are not really standardized because if we look at in our sheet, let's go back before we actually do that. If you look in our sheet, if I do Control F, yeah, look at Manchester, meaning when someone was getting the data, they wrote Manchester wrongly. They did not, it's not really correct. Again, if we look at, yeah, look at Leeds. Look at, if I put Z, yeah, look at this also. This is not really okay. Meaning, that's why we need to standardize the city's name. How do we do that? If we go back to our prompt, look at the prompt. Clean the city column. This is the city column. By standardizing all spelling to valid UK city name. This go back to what I taught us in our last class in our prompt engineering. One, you are giving it a role. What is the role we are giving it? We are giving it the role of what? A data analyst that we actually want it to what? Clean our data. Using the fuse machine to correct what? Misspelling. Like Manchester, Leeds, they are actually wrong. Birmingham, they were all spelled wrong. Again, if we come back here again, if we go and check for, yeah, look at this. We wanted to spell Birmingham, but look at the spelling. It's wrong. Once we press enter, just look at it. It will clean it and output it in a new column, which is the clean column. Let's give it a sec. Yes, it's analyzing it. So if you can say, ChatGPT most time is using Python to actually do the data cleaning the way I would have done it if I were to be doing it myself using a Jupyter Notebook Lab. Is doing that. Yes. Let's wait for it. Look at this. Look at this. So let's expand it a little. Look at this. Look at this. Before, look at this. It was Leeds with Z, but now look at it. Again, here is the other one. Look at this. It's not corrected it. This is the new column it actually created for us. These are the job of what data analyst does most time. Data scientists, this is the job they do most time, doing the data cleaning. Look at this again. If we look at the age column, look at this. We will come to this. Look at the date column also. Look at this. It is scattered. What do we do? Again, we go back to that our prompt. Go back to our prompt. In our prompt list, again, what are we doing? We are fixing the missed data format, date format. Again, we just grab this very copy. I think I saw a message. Okay, just came in. Again, we are doing all this. We are converting all the date join column into an ISO format. What the ISO format? Year, month. Your prompt is everything. In prompt engineering, your prompt is everything. For you to actually have a valid output from AI, your prompt is everything. So, because it will dictate correct formats such as this and match, which has all of this. Look at this, match 2024, all of this. We want them to match to a specific format, which is will be what? Year, month, and day. Again, if I enter this prompt, Let's give it a minute. It will actually do the same that it did for us. It will actually output another sheet down for us. But mind you, if you were to do this using Excel, it's actually possible, but it will really take you time to actually do that. But thank God for AI. You don't really need to go through the hustle again. But in my own takeaway, most time when you are doing all of this, try to make sure you understand the fundamental of some of the things that we will be getting into, some of the statistical numbers or meaning that will be outputting in the upcoming section so that you can actually explain most of this value to anyone at any time. Let's give it time. Is expecting the CSV. Okay, it has done it. Yeah. So, yes, so we'll look at that. Let me paste this. Why this is actually doing it. We're looking at this. Yeah, look at this. So if we go back to our prompt, yeah, so let's analyze this. If you look at it, look at it. It created a new column called date join, and it did what? It outputted something. Yeah, look at it. It now standardized it. It has standardized it to year, month, and day. Look at what we had before. This is not useful anymore. We now have a new column that is really more clear, that has more correct data format. And for our analysis sake, he added a new column called that this thing has passed, which is okay. He added this, which will be good for analysis later on. Now, again, we did the same for age. Age before in our data was what? Age was a string, was a text. Look at it. Because we wrap it on this number 43, all of this number 31, 55, and so on. They are all now being translated into numerical value. How do we do that? Again, it did that for us by actually, when it did that, previously, if you look, you can see here we have 30. Now it has translated it to what? Exactly 30. Again, let's see where we have, whether we have, no, just that. Look, it translated, this alone is enough. It translated this 30 to this. Again, let's we go back to our sheet. So all of these are things that you will have done yourself using hand on Excel, done by hand, but now AI is doing it for us, cleaning up the data for us. This data cleaning process, it might really be simple if you have experience. It can take you like 20 minutes to do, but with LLM, AI, you don't really need to spend much of that time. All what you need to do is to be a bit more just productive by using it. Again, now we want to identify blank rows which have missing fields such as customer ID, name, and city. Again, we want to check on this sheet, do we have any row that has a missing customer ID or name or something. It will check through. If we have any, we want to remove it because we don't want to actually form an ID for someone or name. No, we don't want that. While that is going, the last one is check for anomalies in age, date join, highlight each value that fall outside the expected range. So again, we'll come back to this. Yes, it has checked through. Originally 100 rows, removed 0, meaning none actually have an empty, so nothing was removed. The whole. So let's take a look again. Yeah, our data is still, I think it should be 100 rows. Yeah, still 100 rows, meaning none is empty, nothing was removed. Again, the last part is we want to check for. So there are many scenarios you can come up with. Depends on how your data is. If your data is bigger, you can actually check out for all of this. But for this data set, these five cleaning prompts actually do the job for us end to end without any need to actually really consider doing anything much. So this is the last cleaning command. Time. Think this is the last part. Is checking it very well. Good, done. Okay. So the age is between, let's look at the summary. The age is between what? 18 to 65. Issue fund 0. Date is this. Issue fund is 9. Okay. Total customer 100. Row with abnormally 8. Okay. And join issue is 9. Yes. So this is what was it saying? So there is saying that there are some rows that the dates join and their age doesn't really match. So those are the abnormally it find. Okay. So as far as we are concerned, our data, look at it. This is where the anomaly is actually found. Look at it. We ask it to actually highlight them and look at the checks that it highlights those that we actually ask it to highlight. If we were to want to do some more cleaning, verification, or remove this one that we find to be abnormally, we could have actually exclude them from the data set. But that's not the case. We are not excluding them. Let's just continue with them. The next part is what? Is prompt analysis using AI and natural language processing. Now, in this part, we want to check for the customer distribution by city. The customer distribution by city, we want to actually calculate the number of customer per clean city, provide percentage, and rank the city from highest to lowest. Just watch. Now you will see what this will do for us. So look at what it has actually done. A calculated customer per clean city. Look at it. Manchester has what? 12%. Birmingham, so the rest share almost 10%. So Liverpool and London, they have all this other number. Now, if we go back to this sheet again, it is actually setting up flag that we will actually use later on for other analysis. But it has actually done what we actually asked for. In the analysis we asked for, this is the analysis we asked for. Again, if we go back again to our prompt, so because so sometimes why this prompt is really necessary and good is most time you will actually be in a situation that you are asked to actually do some of these things. Meaning, if you can put them in prompts and properly because you understand your data, this will help you to actually just do your work more faster so that you focus on actually understand what the data is rather than actually crafting it by hand or doing it here. But the truth is, if you really want to be a really master, you can still learn the fundamental of all these things yourself using hand, but with the way AI is going, it's good you master the way of writing prompts and knowing how, when, and where to use them in your data so that you can actually work more smarter, which is exactly what we are doing now. And after this course, I believe if for those of us that really want to take it as a career, you master your prompts and you try to understand different data sets, use them to do different things. You can create a portfolio for yourself that you do most of this thing using AI, and again, you have actually crafted a career for yourself in an angle that you did not really expect. Look at it now. It has actually created this for us again. Let me see. Yes, it created this for us. Look at this. It created this metric for us. What is it? The mean. It created the mean for us, meaning the average age. The average age is what? 30. Let's go back. I think this should be, yeah, let's use this. So look at it. The average age is what? The average age is 38.73. The median, which means the exactly at the middle. Exactly at the middle is what? Is 36.5. Then the mode, which is the single most common age in all the age is what? 29. The mean, which is the smallest in all the age. Let's go back. Let's look at our data set. The smallest among the age. Look at it. Imagine if you were looking for the smallest. Yeah, because we have actually said it in the data set now, it looks as if it's easy for us to find. But if you were to be finding it, it will be a bit hard. Then the max, which is the highest, the oldest in the data set, is 55. This is actually done for us using just one single prompt because now the LLM now have a history. Why is this working? That's one question that I need some of you to actually ask me. Why is this working? The LLM have understood our journey of what we are doing using our what we call history. Because all what we are doing now, when we started the prompt, we have built an history right from the beginning by giving it a data set that I asked him to actually read the data set for the coming prompts. He did that. Then we asked him to clean the data. He cleaned it, meaning the tab history, this tab history has understood our data. So as we continue moving forward, it will actually keep reading, referencing the data again and again and again and again and again. So that is exactly what it's doing. Now, again, the age bracket, it came up with another summary again, age bracket, that from 18 to 25, we have zero customer. Imagine if you were running an ad that for your company now, you went to run an ad for 15 and 8, meaning 15 and 8, 18 to 25 are not your customer. You have 0% in age 18 to 25. Age 26 to 35, you have 49 customer, meaning these are the people who are, this is the age range that is more interested in our product and services. Again, we have 17, which is not really bad. Again, we have another age group, 46 to 55 is another age group that is really, really interested in our product, meaning people who are from 56 to 65, we have zero of them. 66 plus, we have none of them. So if you sum all this together, this give you 100% of our number cost, our data set. This brings us to the next one, which is what? Analyze customer sign up. So this one again, let's take, for example, we are a tech company or just we have a sign up in our listen. We want to analyze the people that are signing up over time to identify spike, dip, pattern by week or month. So how are we identifying this sign up? Can someone please help me on the in the comment section? Are we identifying this sign up? Please help us. Someone help us in this in the comment section. How is it identifying this sign up? If we go back to our data set, let me go back to a more smaller one where we started. That is, yes, look at the date join. The date join that we did. And we use, yeah, look at the date join that we use. The date join is the date that we could actually refer to as the sign up date, which is what it will use for this last prompt that we just enter. We want to know, oh, we remove something, I didn't copy this completely. Yeah, okay. It's telling us that in the month of March, we have what? 24 people that actually sign up. That's early ramp up period. Then in April, which is the strongest, we have 60 people sign up. While in May, we have partial month, which is leading to earlier May only. Again, this now give us an analysis that is actually really, really more in-depth. Say it's telling us that the date range from this very date, from 2024, March 12th to May 8th. This was the period that we have this sign up. The peak month is it gave us the peak month, which is the 60%. It gave us the lowest, which is this, and the peak week. It's actually even giving us the peak week. On your own, you can actually, don't worry, we'll get into that. We'll get into that, that you can actually break this down to be more better. It's all leads down to the prompt that you actually give. If you give better prompts, you can actually get more better stuff out of this. Again, the last one here before we go to storytelling is we want to segment the customer by age group and city and identify which segments are growing faster, growing the fastest. What I really want you guys to take away from this is the power of what prompt can actually do. The power of prompt. Because sometimes so many people really don't even want to really learn deep into some of this technology again because take for instance, most of us who are really, really, really techy, we don't really know much deep about what operating system is. And we are doing some really cool stuff. But now, take for instance, people who now don't want to really go deep into the deep fundamental, they can still use AI to actually do some of this thing without really knowing deep what is in most of those detail of what the AI is using to produce most of all this. Take for instance, if I'm asked to actually create a report like this now, I can actually submit this to my boss and he will know that, yeah, he will think that I've actually done a very good job because these numbers are really matching and okay. But whereas I didn't actually do it in depth. The only thing I did was to think, which is what I'm always emphasizing anytime we are taking this program. Think deep of how you can structure your prompt that will actually make LLM to respond to you in a tune that matches what you need. That is just the goal. Think deep, think very, very smart so that when LLM respond, it respond that matches what you need. If not, it will respond based on what you gave in and out of what you may have been asked to do, which will make you feel that these things are not really working. But if your prompts are really, really correct and accurate, this will really help you to make a really good, as in make really good work art flow and smart to really make your job easy and fast. Again, now it has actually given us what the fastest growing segment by city. It's telling us, I think they are all growing almost at the same, except Leeds and London that actually fall short in the month, in some month. If not, they are actually all almost at the same. Yes, Sena, he came up with this little graph for us by telling us, came up with this. Hmm. No worry, we'll get it into this in terms of when we do our visualization, that should be more really better off. Now, this brings us to what we talked about and the little video we watched some time ago, which is the storytelling. So now we want to say, write a clear, engaging narrative explanation of key insight from the data set. Which city have the most customer? What the age profile looks like? How join dates trend over time using plain language suitable for business audience. If you look at the last prompt sentence, use plain language suitable for business audience. Why? Because the storytelling, you want to tell the story to maybe business investors. Yes, you want to make a pitch to investor. That's why you want the storyline to actually. You want the storyline to actually match up business to be suitable for businesses. So look at it. The data set showed the data set show a customer base that is broadly spread across major UK city with one clear lead, Manchester, with 12 customers out of 100, taking 12% of the market, actually explaining each of these value bit by bit. The largest group age is what? 26 to what? 35. Exactly what we see we got when we did this. Look at yeah, look at this age group. Is what he's using to actually tell this very story down here. Also now. The sign up were low in the week of what? This very week, 11th to 7th of March, with only 2 customers sign up. Meaning in March there was low, yeah. Okay, that is a very short story. For those of us that we actually in the LA class, you can use runway, runway combined with again combined with other two to make a very good video. I think who can remind us other two we use in making video in the other class, please? Anyone here to remind us? I know we use runway to make our video. We use canvas to design our image. Then we use a Sono for the sound that we did the other day. That's fine. Just try and remember when you want to use them. You can go through what we have done before. Again, this is another storytelling strategy we want to actually put in here. Generate a concise executive summary highlighting 3 major insights why they matter for customer growth strategy. Yes, top 3 customer growth insight. Manchester is the strongest customer city, but grow in broad balance. The core customer segment is what? 26 to 35. April showed the strongest acquisition momentum, which is where they have most of the customer. Exactly what our prompt does, and it actually dipping down into our data to actually bring out most of this insight for us. I will repeat this again and over again. Everything boils down to your prompt, what you need it for. If it was for social media engagement, this prompt will not really work. You need to craft it based on the tune of social media, if that's what you are aiming to do. But now what we are doing is just business strategy, kind of. Now we are not onto the market part. We are not saying provide actionable recommendation for marketing customer engagement or regional strategy. Yeah, so recommendation. look at it, run Manchester focus campaign. Exactly. Because why? Manchester is what is the highest customer count by growth. Using local messages so popular in Manchester with Manchester customer serving Manchester professional. Test pay ad campaign, local partnership before rolling out elsewhere. Why? Because for the fact that Manchester is actually the big customer base, testing it if you work with Manchester, meaning you can actually roll it out in all other places. Build a repeatable campaign for similar performing cities. Birmingham, Bristol, Cardiff, Glasgow, Leeds, and Sheffield, with each having 10% of the customer base. Target age, if we are to run an ad, like I stated earlier on, the target age is what? 35, 26 to 35, which count for what? 49% of our customers. Yeah, do not ignore the 46 to 55 group also, because that makes up what? That makes up our 45%. That makes up 45% of our customer base also. Those are the recommendations. Investigate what happened in April, because April is the most sign up month. So that need to be investigated compared to March. Use weekly sign up track as KPI, as growth KPI, putting customer per month during April. Priority growth plan. So priority one is giving us priority one. Manchester target strong, increase the strongest city traction. The age, repeated style, test region campaign in 10% city, build separate messaging for, yeah, meaning is it's actually suggesting that the messaging that we will use to target this customer should be different from what we will use to target this customer. Why? The age matters, because what the thinking of people who are 26 to 35 will be different from the thinking of people who are 30, who are 46 to 55. That brings us to what we call the part where we build our visualization. To build this also, we are not really doing anything much. The prompt is what is doing the job for us. Again, the prompt to, oh, someone dropped a message. Yeah. Okay, pick at 11 lab. Yeah, okay, good. Yeah. So, no worry. You guys will do that later on. We do that. So you will actually use most of the storytelling, especially the storytelling part. You can use it. You can use it to, you can make a video to tell the story. You can do that later on. Okay, look at now it's came up with this for us. See, you can actually change the color. Okay, you see, you can actually change the color to what you want. Uh, actually have the code in my head. I have the code in my head. Okay. Now it's actually giving us, we all know Manchester 12%, the rest City. So on the y-axis is the number, while on the s-axis, look at it. On the s-axis is what? Is the city. Why? As simple as this. This is simple and straightforward. You can actually download it. You can do that. Again, let's go back to our sheet again. It actually gave us the histogram of number of customer, and again the same with their age distribution. So people who are 25, 35, and you see 55, it gave us that also. Then the oh, okay. Create a line chart showing customer sign up over time. Okay, so if we go back to our line chart, okay, in the month of, okay, then in the month of, hmm, yes, we have most of our sign up, meaning the sign up was just at the top, meaning customer sign up day. Yeah, that's what this is saying. This. Hello guys, can you hear me? Hello guys. So it's saying that in the month of March, we're having our sign up was going up and down. Yeah, our sign up was going up and down. Look at it, it was going up and down. But in the month of April, it got stabilized. It says stabilizes in the month of April or throughout. So all the sign up were actually in the month of April 2024. Look, in the month of April. So during this week of April to May, Yes, during the week of April to May, all the sign up people actually join in most of uh in these very months. Think we have two more to go. Yes, so this is we have two more to go. This I don't know. I need to drag this and keep it somewhere. Like I've saying in previous section, you can use this to always do your work and even get to even understand data in general. Yes, you can use to understand even data that you don't really understand. You can use it to learn data analysis. You can use it to learn how to do so many things. If we were to actually front in that, okay, we want to learn the process of cleaning the data ourselves, building the dashboard ourselves, using what's it called? Using a Jupyter notebook, we will be able to do that also. Yes, we will be able to do that also. But for the sake of this program, we don't want to involve anything too technical. Yes, I think it's not it gave us this dashboard that okay, look at it, the dashboard for journey trend. Look at the journey trend. It went up, then in the month of May, it's coming down. Also, meaning the company was doing yeah, the most of the sign up came in the month of April 2024. Again, it gave us another dashboard of customer count by age. Yeah, we have seen this before. 26 to 35 is our most. So if you were to do this using Power BI, it will take you a bit of time, or using Excel, it will take you a bit of time, but it is really achievable. But look at what a single prompt has done for us in a matter of seconds. Yeah, look at what a prompt has done for our most customer base, which is Manchester. Look at it. If we download this to an Excel, we can actually, it's an Excel. We can actually see edit it. Look at it. It's an Excel. We can actually see edit it. It's telling us top city is what? Manchester. Peak month. Look at this again. Just giving us key metric, cost total customer, largest age group, which is 26 to 35, which is 49% of our customer base. This, to me, this is really incredible in the sense that from a prompt, we have actually built a dashboard. We have actually create tell a story from the dash. Then the first thing we say we did, we clean the data, we did analysis, then we actually do storytelling. Now we are creating visualization, which are the core takeaway of this very practice. These are things that will have taken you or a professional really good amount of time and effort, knowledge to actually come up with. But without any prior knowledge in most of those technical depth, you should be able to actually follow through, do exactly all what I am doing now. And this is the last prompt, which we are doing what? We are creating a storyboard with 4 to 6 visual that walks the audience through the customer landscape. Let's just give it a second. Guys, are we really okay? Is there any question that we feel like we want to ask, or do we have any contribution? Does any of us have any contribution, or do we have any question we want to ask? So in your takeaway, while we are waiting for that to complete the last one, in your takeaway, go on, where will I put it now? So I will say you guys should go on Kaggle. You guys should go on Kaggle and get a data set. Yeah, this is a free word data set. Register. You will see a lot of data sets here that are free. Get a data set and build a simple dashboard. Or I would prefer that you guys should improve on mine. Don't get a data set. Yeah, let's make it simple. You guys should improve on what I use. Yeah, okay, someone is raising their hand. Yeah, Steve.
Yeah.
Steve, you can speak now.
Hello.
Hello.
Yeah, Steve, I can hear you.
Yeah, quick one.
one.
Regarding
Regarding
the data,
Yes.
I noted
noticed
that the input document was in the CSV.
Yes.
Does it have to be as mandatory, or any other format can also work?
No, it's not mandatory. It can be like if you go back to if I go back on my presentation slides where there is a place I said data can be in a yeah, the data set can be is a collection of information. Example, it can be a spreadsheet, it can be a PDF, a folder of PDF. Let it just be a data that is really that is open that AI can exploit and you and actually bring what I call insight from. Meaning it has a, let me say it has a rows column, something like that. It has row and column, and the data set has a data type also. It must not be Excel or CSV. Do you get?
Yeah, I get this.
Yeah.
And then
It can be
regarding
from a
the
PDF Word file or yeah. Continue.
go ahead, I'm listening.
Continue. Yeah. I think you wanted to say something.
Yes, yes. So that's clear on the format. That makes sense now. The other clarification I wanted to know is regarding the prompts.
Yes.
So I noticed you said that you share the prompts. Yeah, do we, in a situation where, because data is always different from different sources, and which means you to require a different
Yes.
prompt. So how maybe just a simple basic rule on how you manage to come up with these prompts in this regards of the data.
Exact.
I like the
Thank you for
emphasis
that
in where you
very
said that
question.
it's
Thank
important.
you. Yes. Okay.
Yes.
Uh, yes. To come up with this prompt, let's go back. To come up with this prompt, when you look at let me put this side by side. Uh, yes. Let me see if I can yes, exactly. Good. To come up with this prompt, coming up with this prompt was really simple. Why was it simple? One, I noticed that the data was really messy. If you look at the data, look, you can see some places where we have I can't really paint. Yeah, look at this. I noticed that look at Manchester, it's not well spelled. Look at the date.
Mhm.
If you look at the date, if you look at, let me go back to the top. Also, if you look at the date, you can see 2024, they are not in the same format. The data in different formats. Look at the age also on the age. Look at 30. It is 30 in word, not 30 in number. I notice all these things. So that is where I have the idea of what first we have to clean. I have a prompt that does what for the city. The focus was just to clean the city alone. Do you get that idea now? The, the idea of the first prompt was to take care of the city,
Yes.
to take care of the city. Then followed by, so when after the city was done, the idea for the second prompt came that, okay, if I look at, I want all the dates to be in the same format so that we can use the date join to actually make our dashboard. Look at how beautiful this is. If you present this to someone, they will know that, okay, yes, you have actually understood what the business is doing and the way forward. This is the work that some people that are data analysts, data scientists, this is what they do. Now you have done it without even touching any technical stuff. The only thing that you actually use is what we call using your thinking lens, which is what we have always been emphasizing throughout this course. Look at this. Is this not beautiful, Steve?
Yeah, it is. It looks well presentable.
Yeah. So this is really beautiful and well presentable, like you just said. Now, back to what you asked, say, how do you come up with the prompt? Coming up with the prompt is actually from your data. Let's go again. Again, we clean the city. After the city, we saw that the date we actually not formatted. We actually form another prompt again to format the data. We move forward to the age. We saw that, okay, the age was actually what? A test. We want to convert it to number. That's why we use this third prompt to do that. Again, we now look to that. Is there any place that name is blank? Name and other thing, name is blank or ID is blank. No, we looked through, there was nothing like that. We then look to that, okay, we want to detail outlier, which is meaning that something that is deviating from the norm. Is there anything deviating from the norm that we can actually remove that we don't want to be part of our data set? We look at that also. Now, going down to where we actually did prompt for data analysis. One, what do we want to do here in this data? Now, with our data is clean. The next part is what? Data analysis, which is we want to know the customer distribution by city. How many customers are from a particular city? That was our next aim, which is what? Look at this. Oh, no, it's not part of this our diagram. It's not part of this our diagram. Yeah, okay. City represented is 10. Okay. It's not part. So that was the prompt that we actually came up with. We came up with this prompt. Customer distribution by city. Calculate the number of customer per clean city. That was the first prompt we gave after the cleaning. Yeah, that was what we got this. You see this? That was what gave us this very one, Steve. Again, we move on to, after that, we move on to the one again, age profile analysis. We want to know the age group of people who are actually using our services. So most of this thing, Steve, it all comes down to your data. That's where you can actually get insight of what you want to. There are thousands of other prompts that can come up from this. These are what I was able to come up with. Steve, do you get the idea? This is not limited to what I have here now. So I will be
Yeah.
giving you guys these data sets, this prompt, and the slide. What you will do for me in your spare time and your takeaway assignment is make go through this first, then make your individual prompt and submit back to me and submit on the take home work. That's what you should do for me. You can rephrase this prompt to be something better, but at the end, try to be able to come up with most of the thing and come up with a dashboard that looks like this. That will be the take home work for today. So, Steve, the prompts are not limited to just this, but the prompt is actually based on the data because as you can see now, the prompt, we are not prompting it that, oh, give us the number of engineers that are working in Manchester. No, that doesn't fit into our data set. Do you see that we don't have anything like that? Everything here actually
Yeah.
match up to the data. All the prompts actually match up to the data as they are all stated here. So your take home work will be that I will be sharing these files on the uh group section. You guys should actually use it to do the practices. Anything you don't understand, put it as a question. I will go through it. Um, get back to me. Then next week we do some other exciting practices. Any question, guys?
I think the key part here is understanding data and also knowing what you want from the data.
Exactly. Yes. Understand. That's where the storytelling comes in, understanding the data and knowing what you want from the data. Um, I think that will be it for today. And if in the absence of no question, we'll be ending here and see you next week. And don't forget to do your homework projects and submit on the portal. I want to say a very big thank you for all of you that joined and have a nice week.